Sparkman's Yugituber Dueling Tournament is brought to you by the following sponsors. Hey guys, Shaun here. Welcome to week 1 of Sparkman's Yugituber Dueling Tournament. For week 1 I was up against A AP Leaky and I brought my Ancient Gear deck. So let's have a look at the deck. We have a Sci Frame Driver for the Gamma package. We have double Super Express Bullet Train, Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, 1 Golem, 1 Infinite Track Trencher and double Infinite Track Anchor Drill. We have triple Ancient Gear Wyvern, double Ancient Gear Frame, and 1 Ancient Gear Box. So that's it for the monsters. The monster lineup is kind of small, but it works. We have here Overload Fusion, Harpy's Feather Duster, triple Ancient Gear Catapult, triple Pop Extravagance. For Extravagance, we have the extra deck all ratioed out so that we have the highest chances of not banishing the stuff we need. Double Ancient Gear Fusion, we have 1 Terraforming, triple Urgent Schedule, probably the most important card in the deck. 1 Heavy Forward, double Ancient Gear Fortress, triple Gear Town, triple Impermanence, and 1 Red Reboot. For the extra deck we have triple Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, double Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, 1 Ancient Gear Megaton Golem, and 1 Ancient Gear Howitzer. We have Scrap Dragon, double Dugaris, triple Ancient Gear Ballista, and double Anaconda. So yeah, the ratios here basically, if I banish 6 cards off of Extravagance, I have the best chance of having my important key pieces still in the deck to use. For the side deck we have triple Swift Scarecrow, triple Droll Lockbird, triple Shared Ride. I'm not too sure about Shared Ride, it's basically a bad maxi, but it could be useful. Double Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Twin Twisters, and then triple Dimensional Barrier. So a few changes I would make. Super Express Bullet Train, it's good, but you can also replace it with Heavy Freight Train Dairy Crane, which is basically, I can use it to chain block when I summon Ancient Gear Wyvern. That would have come up in this game and it would have made a big difference, so next time if I ever use Ancient Gears again, I'll definitely change that. I forgot to mention that this deck is a going second deck. The goal of the deck is the OTK. If we have to go first, I side in Swift Scarecrow, so that I can, it's basically a Battle Fader, but it's also an Earth Machine, so I can use it to go into Ballista if I need to. Droll is pretty much the best card for going first in this deck, because I can just stop my opponent from doing stuff on the next turn. Shared Ride didn't come up in the duel, but it could be useful. We have double Cosmic and 1 Twin Twisters, basically back row removal, so very important if I go up against trap heavy decks. And Dimensional Barrier is basically a great card for going first, because I can stop my opponent from going into any of their extra deck cards, besides Lynx, but that's usually not a problem. So let's go on to the replay now. Alright, game 1, I'm up against Altergeists, which is a deck I was not expecting at all. We go second, my opponent sets 3 and passes. We have a pretty decent hand here. I use Extravagance to bait out an Ash Blossom, which thankfully that works. And I go in for my summon of Anchor Drill, but it gets Solemn Striked. So the problem with going up against a trap heavy deck is that if I get interrupted anytime, it's basically my turn over. So yeah, he goes in for an attack. Luckily, I'm not worried about getting OTK'd here. I draw into Wyvern, I activate Wyvern's effect, but it gets impermed. So this is a common theme that happens during the duel. I try to do one thing, it gets impermanenced or negated, and then I'm basically done for the turn. Here I get Solemn Judgmented, which basically puts me in a really bad position. So he goes in for all out attacks here, does a lot of damage. So if he attacks with all those monsters again, I'm basically done. So I draw into a brick, basically. I summon Wyvern, it gets impermed again. I activate Gear Town, just to hope he destroys it for some reason. He bounces back my Wyvern, and then that's pretty much game 1. So there's plenty of things I could have done differently. I had Overload Fusion in my hand, so what I could have done was set up my graveyard, which would have been possible if I summoned Frame. Even if Frame would have gotten negated, it sends a card from my hand to the graveyard as cost, so I would have been able to set up my graveyard, use Overload Fusion, go into my Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, and possibly win from there, but at the same time he still had a bunch of disruptions on the field. Alright, for game 2, we're still going second, which is good. We have a pretty decent hand, we have Impermanence in hand. Impermanence is Multi-Faker, so we can't get a search, and that pretty much shuts down his turn. So I draw Extravagance again, use it again. Sadly it gets Solemn Judgmented. But at least it baited out an interruption, so that's good. We go for Urgent Schedule, summon 2 guys, go into Ballista, So Ballista gets effect veilered, but I can use my Infinite Track Trencher in the graveyard to summon Anchor Drill, but that gets impermanence. So I summon Wyvern, search for Fusion, activate Gear Town, go into another Ballista, but it gets negated again. So I just go for attacks here, and luckily because of the Solemn Judgment, he's down to 2400 life points, so I can pretty much win from here. He sets one card. I activate Ancient Gear Fortress, he chains Manifestation. I'm able to summon out my Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon and attack for game. Alright, game 3. Yet again we're going second. Sets 2 and passes. I make a bit of a bad call here. So I go for Pot of Extravagance against Ashed, which is fine. But then I chain Red Reboot to the trap card activation. That was way too preemptive, and I let him set another card from his deck. Because part of me was trying to go for the OTK here, but it was just not possible, especially since he had no monsters on board. So yeah, my Wyvern gets effect veilered again. I go for the Infinite Track Trencher here, summon a bunch of guys, and at this point I just go for all out attacks. Go into Ballista at the end here. I probably could have ordered this much better, but I did not. Right, he draws into Torrential Tribute, which is very important for what happens coming up here. He does all his Altergeist stuff. He gets out his Multi-Faker, activates his effect. He bounces my Reactor Dragon back to hand. So that's my turn again. I draw Urgent Schedule. I hate Torrential Tribute, which is very helpful because it clears my board, and then he chains Multi-Faker to summon it. So then I have a target to use Urgent Schedule on, so I can summon 2 monsters here. Link into Ballista. Ballista gets negated, but I activate Trencher to summon Anchor Drill to summon out Reactor Dragon, go into Anaconda, with Anaconda's effect. For some reason he changed this Altergeist card to bounce back my Anaconda. Probably not a good move there, but I attack for 3000, and I'm very close to winning here. So he summons his Marionetter, gets his trap card, ends his turn. I draw Gear Town. He ends up bouncing back my Chaos Engineer Giant, which is very bad. Now here is where I make a gigantic misplay. I activate Gear Town and activate Catapult. So with Catapult I summon out Golem. I don't resolve Gear Town because in my mind I wanted to attack for game. I thought activating any effect would just get negated. That was a really bad move. I could have activated Gear Town, searched for Wyvern, use Wyvern to search for Ancient Gear Fusion, and then fuse into Ancient Gear Hellwitzer. And Hellwitzer has an insanely good matchup against this deck. He's unaffected by card effects, he has 1800 defense, which is enough to basically block a lot of Altergeist cards, and he can burn for 1000 every turn. So if I went into him, I would have had a very good chance of winning the duel. So I go into battle phase, I attack, but it gets negated by this one Altergeist card here, which I had no idea what it did. So I set box and pass here, but that's pretty much game. He's able to bounce back all my cards and attack for a bunch of damage and kill me right there. Alright, so that was week 1. Overall, not very happy with how I played. I went up against a deck that I was 100% not used to at all. I think I adapted on the fly well enough. I just wish I realized that Ancient Gear Hellwitzer is like the biggest counter to this deck. So in the future, if I ever come up against this deck again, I'll definitely keep that in mind. I'm not sure if I'm going to use Ancient Gears again, at least for a little while. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of these mini duel analysis. This is the first time I've tried one of these out, so it's a bit tricky to do on the fly. Hopefully I was able to convey my thought process throughout the duel, even though I messed up a few times. Alright, thanks for watching. Tune in for week 2, where I will hopefully fucking win a match.